Let's fight!
Fire style! Fireball jutsu!
Seriously, I won't hear on your will.
Fire style! Fireball jutsu!
You stupid bitch. You stupid fucking ginger.
Here. And you can see that the tiling is completed at this part of the station, but it looks like they're either working on some machinery or perhaps an extension of that tiled walkway. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit of a better angle at the station itself. You can see that there are some wrapped pillars which will eventually feature the logo art that has been done for the station. Each station along the line has had a local artist complete several projects and art showcases that you'll be able to see once the station's open. It's going to be hot to sit on, especially on a sunny SoCal day like today. But I'm happy to let you know that I tested this out at the future station at Lamar, which is also featured in today's video. And upon touching those benches, they really were not hot at all, despite it being 1 p.m. on a really hot Sunday afternoon. So they really used some kind of material or something else to make sure that the benches don't overheat, which is great to see. Now we're looking at some of the mixed-use area around the station, just east on 88 Avenue. And you can see here there is a little bit of an apartment complex here.
What is the next social ad? It's on TV. You've already got social ads, but what about the ads on TV? It doesn't have to be some confusing process. You can just use Roku Ads Manager. It's a self-service platform that lets you run and optimize CTV campaigns, and it meets your audience where they're already watching on Roku. It's a great addition to your digital marketing mix, and it can give you huge impacts. Try Roku Ads Manager today.
Complex here. I'm not sure if it was part of the transit or development of the area, but it is named after the Glenmore station, so it is definitely related to it. And this provides those residents great access to the train, as does several other stations on the line. Now we'll take a look at it in just a second. Although otherwise, for the most part, it looked like this. We want to see the family traffic. And here's another look at that housing complex right here, which also has a bus stop right in front of it, having connections to the form of Brooklyn Train. In addition, the station has access to Federal Transit's Route 188, so this area is really connected to the surrounding areas by bus. And on this 188 bus stop, there's much of bridges on the extension. As part of the extension, Metro had been able to find trains celebrating several parts of the project, including the information outlet. You can see that the freight traffic is still there, although it's great to see how micro traffic is not being progressed. Anyways, we're going to take a look at the next stop on the line, which is San Dimas. And with that, we are at the next station along the line here at the San Dimas station. This station is located most closest to the intersection of San Dimas and Bonita, located in the downtown part of the San Dimas area. First, we're taking a look at the parking lot and biking area of the station, which is located across the street. You can see that there is several biking facilities as well as a regular parking lot. We'll get a closer look at what they have to offer in terms of amenities like that in just a second. But looking to the right, you can see that which, like all others, is going through our rain and here in front of one of the trains across the river. And the surrounding by ADA accessibility all these stops on the line will be wheelchair accessible, just like all other stations along Metro, which is great to see here in Los Angeles. Now here's the state rail crossing, which has a state improvements with those circuits that will open across the gates if they detect a car is in the intersection. This goes the same way with the freight truck, which is right next to it. And at the two later stations, Laverne and Pomona, this is actually the Metrolink track, which is awesome to see, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second. On the right hand side, you can see a button for that freight truck and a HVAC sign. These can be popping up all over the A-line extension, and I'm not entirely sure what they're used for. If you do know, feel free to drop a comment down below. But there is a wider view of the station level itself, which has the same structure pattern as the Glendora one, with one small roof on the right-hand side where they'll have a ticket vending machine, and a larger one on the left, which will provide shade for those who are waiting for the train. You can also see in the video that the ticket vending machines are not installed yet, but the emergency intercoms are. Also see that the benches and trash cans are installed, as well as the wall signage and the electrical signs that will tell you when the next train is. As I can't tell if they are on through that video, but in future stations they are also enabled through electricity, so I would assume that these are working as well. You can also see that there's an information TV screen under that initial roof, turned to the wall apparently. I'd imagine they'll turn that towards the walkway in just a second once the station gets closer to being open. It's also important to note that Metro has announced that this station has reached substantial completion here in February, but there is still a lot more to do in terms of finishing off the station. But do not be fooled, unfortunately, substantial completion does not mean the line is going to open to the public. It just means that they have transferred control of the line and right away from the construction company itself to Metro. And from there, Metro is going to finish the work on the stations, and they can run testing to make sure that the line is going to run smoothly when it opens. Now let's go ahead and cross the street and take a look at the extra property that Metro has that will have a parking lot as well as other biking facilities for those who are biking or driving to the station. And initially here you can see on the right hand side there's an open bike parking area, and on the left there is a closed structure that has a lock. This is interesting to see, and it's going to be a great resource for commuters who need to use that to park their bikes and know that they're secure. There's also handicap parking just right here. There's currently some clutter around the area from the construction of the station, but that is understandable as they have the parts and they finish off the parts of the station. On the right hand side, you can see one of Metro's emergency intercoms, which also allow you to get information. This is really nice that they have up here and well around the station itself. It's great that they cover so many areas with this, just in case an emergency arises. Here we can have a better look at the rest of the parking lot, which has someone driving through, which is awesome to see because that means that there is an entrance and exit that is finished and viable for vehicles to drive on. I'm curious to see if that was a worker or if it was just a confused motorist. But what I was talking about earlier are these signals here that connect to the railroad crossings, and they blink once they are fully lowered and clear. This is going to help improve the safety of this intersection. Since if a vehicle is stuck on the tracks and it lifts one of the gates, this will mean that that signal to proceed will not display, giving the train driver more time to stop before hitting a vehicle. So it's going to be awesome to see the comparison of vehicle incidents between this area and the rest of the A-line. I'm sure it's going to be reduced due to this new technology. There's also quad gates here at this station as well as other sections of it. And a quad gate essentially has a room across the side of the street over the direction of travel. In addition, there are pedestrian gates right here as well for pedestrian safety. And there's a sign here pointing to eventually being the operator of the crossing, which is really interesting to see, as the San Bernardino line does not run along this section of the track. It joins up later between Laverne and North. And we're going to look at that in just a second. But anyways, now we're looking at the rest of the area around the station, which is not very dense, unfortunately. But this is also understandable as we're dozens of miles from Los Angeles. But there are some notable things here, like the downtown area we'll take a look at in just a second, as well as a shopping mall which contains grocery stores and for residents. And as we continue up to the intersection of San Dimas and Bonita, this is where you'll be able to connect to the Foothill Transit Route 492, which serves the station. That'll provide good connections to El Monte, and for the time being, Claremont and Montclair. Those two stations are expected to be completed later on the timeline, as it requires funding from San Bernardino County as well as other complications, so the line is only going to be opening to Pomona North in this first phase. In the distance, you can see the downtown San Dimas neighborhood, which has lots of diner, shops, and other places that you can eat at. Although this car mechanic here is definitely a bad example of that. Across the street is where there's going to be more chain locations, such as an Albertsons or a Dollar Tree where you can buy things back, as well as places where you can grab some food. So overall, it's definitely a nice select over station. I don't expect this to have a relationship to stations such as Lake and Pasadena or other stations of that area due to the density. I do hope eventually that this station does have some transit-oriented development around it, but at the time being, it doesn't look like much will be done in the future. So overall, it is a great station, and I'm glad Metro has added one here, as there's definitely a purpose, and it adds a great connection to El Monte if you are riding from the east side. Now, our next stop is going to be Laverne Fairplex.
Laverne Fairplex.
And welcome to the Laverne area, where we're going to be starting off at Laverne University and downtown area surrounding the college. This area is a great reason why the station exists, but there's also the Los Angeles County Fairground, which is located just south of the station, which also provides a great opportunity for a metro station here. But the more stable source of friendship for the station is definitely going to be the Laverne University, and which its main campus is located here, which is right next to the train station. This building in front is also a residential hall for the college students in the area, which allows greater connectivity from this area to destinations all the way to Long Beach. And if we look further down, you can see the railroad crossing, which is going to be where the station's at. So it will be a little bit of a walk to go from this area and main campus to the Laverne station. But let's go ahead and take a look. Now we're at the actual station itself, near the intersection of Narrow Highway and E Street, which is actually really close to the railroad crossing. So it is great that they have an extra pair of traffic lights just at the other side of the railroad crossing, so that way nobody is incentivized to stop after trying to run for a yellow light, for example. But here is the actual station building, as you just saw right there. And here is the right-of-way from the west side. So trains are going to be coming in from the west using these tracks. And you can see as we cross the street, these crosswalks are really efficient and they're great to have right in front of the road crossing, as they provide greater access, especially as these stations are created and create pedestrian traffic. I think these are definitely underrated, and I'm very glad they exist here, especially in areas where there is not an intersection nearby. In this case, there is, though it's not that big of a deal, but it's a nice thing to have right there. And of course, this railroad crossing has the same features as the ones already reviewed in this video, with those quad gates, pedestrian gates, and those loops in the center of the intersection that detect cars stuck. You can also see there that the railings are also not in the station just yet, as you saw in the previous ones. But the most notable difference compared to the last video I uploaded on this is that all the tiling is completed here. Before, this was just a dirt tile and there wasn't much happening. But now we can walk all the way through to take a closer look at the station and the parking lot that's going to be on the other side of the platform. So here is the first entrance right here, which has an arm on this side, but no arm on the other side for the crossing gates. You can also see that they'll have those electronic signs that will light up when a train is approaching. So this is definitely a modern crossing, and I'm glad they have it. I think those gates are extremely important, as people tend to abuse the manual gates, as you just have to open them Dooring is a cyclist's worst nightmare. Being doored is when a car door unexpectedly opens and you just have to open them, which can lead to instances of the lights being activated but people still opening the gates to cross. There you can see the frames for the ticket vending machines at the station. And over here you can see that some of the station art is tarped up. I'm curious if they're going to do a reveal of some sort during the station dedication or opening. Here, I'm expecting to have those bike racks underneath the shelter as it was just like at the Newport station. It's great to see convenient bike parking and access, and you can actually see that the art structure is pretty much done under that tarp. I'm not going to touch it here for the sake of the video, but it looks like it's pretty cool. Here's a picture of what it's going to look like once it's unveiled through the concept renderings. It definitely has a more minimalist and metal feel to it, but I think it's going to be a great addition to the plaza area. And in the distance, you can see those benches that were just featured, which I did make a comment on about them being too hot, but I just tested it out, and they definitely were not, which is awesome to see. So, you can also see the lights are on at the station. I'm curious to see if they're either testing it, or if they just recently connected the electricity supply. But that's a great sign to see that there's electrical power in these stations, and that everything seems to be working. Now, of course, the departure signs here are offline, but you can still see those little orange blinking dots on the left-hand side, which show that they are working. Now, as you can see, I'm testing out the temperature on these benches, which look like they're made out of metal, which would get heated really quickly in the sun here, but it actually didn't feel warm at all, which is great to see. So you're able to sit on those comfortably, even on a very hot sunny day like today. And here's a look at the platform here, where you can see the freshly painted yellow line, which is nice to see. And a new, slimmer departure screen and information screen, which is awesome to see. I'm glad to see Metro is using new technologies and new designs. I love to see agencies like LA Metro innovate. And on the right here, you can see that Viking building, which is going to have a block on it to help protect those who are using it, like computers, I would assume. And here you can see that the lights are installed here at the station, which is that unique design that was also at the other stations. It'll also be on the D-Line extension. And if you'd like to see a video on that, make sure to check the description down below after you watch this video. I've been doing lots of construction updates around the area, and it's been awesome to see their progression as we go along. Here you can see the start of the drop-off area, which has a little boot here, and you can actually see that there are some supplies here that they're going to be using to help add plants and other things to the dirt that will make it more appealing. And obviously you can see that the concrete has been poured and it's all dried. Looks like it has been for a while too, actually, due to all the dirt on the floor. This is probably from all the construction vehicles that have been coming in and out of the station to do things like drop off supplies. You can also see that the handicap parking spaces are just right here inside the loop, and the rest of the parking is going to be in that lot with the asphalt ground. In the distance there, you can see the parking lot, and there is quite a lot of spaces in each of these parking lots, so it should be pretty nice to enter the station from here. The other side just yet. So I'm sure that'll be coming out in the next few days. And make sure to stay tuned for the next construction update in March. And I'll be looking over the changes that they've made over the past month. So here's a look at that parking lot here, which has another series of handicap parking spaces, as well as several other individual parking spaces for Metro riders. Another important feature of these parking lots that I really love to see is the EV charging. Each of these cardboard boxes, as you can see here by the one dock here, has an electric charging station for your vehicles. So you'll be able to charge while you ride Metro, which is awesome to see, as it's an uncommon amenity here at Metro. In terms of TOD, or transit-oriented development, it's not all lost, as in the distance you can see some closely located townhomes in the distance, and this will provide great access to those, although a bit of a walk will be required to get around the train tracks. For being all the way out here in the San Gabriel Valley, I think townhomes or little apartment structures, such as ones that are 3 stories tall, are great for the area, since we obviously can't expect skyscrapers to pop up here in the SGV. In the distance, you can see the Fairplex for the Los Angeles County Fair, and there's also plenty of other events, and that's primarily why the station is here also, to provide access to the fairgrounds. So during special events, I'm sure the airline is going to have tons of ridership, and the station will be bustling. I can't wait to see what the station's going to look like, and maybe I'll have a video about how to get to the fairgrounds using the station once it opens. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see. Now we're back here at the original railroad crossing where we first saw the station. In the distance, we were looking westbound and now eastbound back at the station. As I mentioned, the station is located just east of Arrow Highway and East Street. And overall, that is the station area here, and it's a pretty great station for what it is and the areas that surround it. Primarily, the station is going to serve the fairgrounds for the Los Angeles County Fair, as well as some other nearby housing complexes, as well as the University of Laverne. So there is plenty of reason for the station to be here, and I think it's a great location to be on the A-Line extension. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next station along the line, which is going to be the last one, Pomona North, which has a connection to the Metrolink station. Let's go ahead and take a look. And welcome back for the last station of the A-Line extension. We're starting here nearby at the intersection of Bonita and Gary, where we can immediately see lots of TOT, or transit-oriented development, in the form of these 4-story apartment complexes located just east of the Pomona North station. These could have already been heritage to the Metrolink station, which is also servicing the area. But this A-Line extension will be much more helpful to the area, providing great frequencies to Los Angeles and Pasadena. This will also provide an opportunity for people to transfer between the A-Line and Metrolink to further destinations like San Bernardino and Montclair. But the A-Line will eventually also extend to Montclair. So make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to see whenever the groundbreaking is going to start, in addition to construction updates once that begins. Now there are 2 bus routes that you can connect to from this area here at this intersection at Bonita and Gary. Routes 492 to El Monte and Montclair, as well as the Route 291, which heads south to Pomona and Chino Hills, and north towards downtown Laverne. You can see that these units are pretty nice for the area. They're spacious, and they provide great access, most importantly, to the Metrolink and A-Line station. So there'll be plenty of options in terms of regional and local transportation. Speaking of which, the Route 291 actually stops right here in the southbound direction. So you could theoretically step off your front porch and straight to the bus stop. And that is how convenient I love public transit, especially if it's right next to the bus stop or the train station. And just up ahead, you can see dogs on one of the balconies, which I think is awesome to see. And it's really cool how they get an elevated view watching us go by. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get right back on track, and pun is intended. At that railroad crossing in the distance, you can see the A-Line pass through, as well as the Metrolink trains. Just to the right of that is where the station is going to be itself, and that's where we're going to be walking. And if you were curious about the Montclair extension, here is a map of what the phase opening up to Montclair is going to look like. First is going to be this phase, which is going to reach Pomona North, where we're at currently. And secondly, there's going to be a line heading to Montclair. And eventually, I would love to see an extension to Ontario Airport, as it's one of the fastest growing airports in the region. It's important to note, though, that the extension to Montclair, as well as the extension to Ontario Airport, are not currently funded, so they're going to have to look to new measures and new revenue sources, possibly from the federal government, which at this time is not ideal due to the current political climate. Anyways, we've reached the railroad crossing here, where you can see the 2 A-Lines represented on the northern end of the right-of-way. Right in the distance, you can also see the Pomona Station building, which actually now houses a secondary office for Metrolink. As we look to the left, you can see some mounds of dirt, as well as some other construction supplies and equipment, which are likely related to the excavation of the A-Line and its creation. They're probably just waiting to take them away, or maybe they're finishing up some jobs over there. Anyways, the Metrolink station and the entrance to the Metrolink station is right here. And the first thing you'll notice from the last video I did, which is below the computer still changes, is that this was just a big dirt lot. But now there is a really nice tile path heading towards the station itself, which is great for people like me who are pedestrians entering the station. You can see the other end of the station building, as well as the Metrolink tracks, which are these 2 right here. So there's a total of 4 tracks in the area, and in the distance you can see the new parking facilities that Metro has built on the station. You'll be able to drop off people here, park, and even charge with those EV chargers that we just looked at before. You can also see that there's some landscaping here already completed with some bushes and some trees, and I can't wait to see what this path is going to look like in maybe 5 to 10 years once once all that is fully grown. It's truly impressive to see a project like this get completed so quickly, at least this section right here, since this truly was just a dirt lot before. But this A-line extension is actually going to be one of the first metro projects that opens on time and under budget. Now, this is a great achievement for Metro because, as many of you know, there have been so many delays across all of Metro's projects, and as a result, it's common that they went over budget. So it's refreshing to see a project like this that has survived COVID and it's gone under budget and it will still open on time by the end of this year. So make sure to stay tuned for videos on the ride along on the new A-line, as well as a review of all of these stations. Now, as we entered the parking lot for Metrolink, there were some bollards there to help protect pedestrians. And the new lot has been repaved and repainted, as you can see. This was done through a series of closures in the Metrolink parking lot, which you can see in previous construction videos here on this channel of this station A-line extension. It looks like a good portion of the parking, at least on this side, is reserved for Metrolink employees. And by the looks of it, it doesn't look like anybody is working today, but of course today is a Sunday, February 23rd. So it's reasonable that their satellite office over here is closed. But in the distance, you can start to see the station itself, as well as the nice water towers you can see in the distance, which provides great decoration for the area. You can also see more close up the TBM frames, or ticket vending machine frames, and you can see some nice bike rack areas. And it's nice to see that those bike racks have been in place, as some of the other ones haven't had the lights installed just yet. But the ticket vending machine frames have not been put on the platform just yet, so there is still a lot of work to do in terms of getting those up and running. But it is a welcoming sight to see the electricity running through the station. And as you turn to the right, you can see the citrusy pattern on the walls of the A-line extension, and these are going to be on all of the bridges and any elevated section of the A-line. It's a really great decorative way to show the bridge, and it shows the cultural history of the area, which has been growing citrus. You can also see some greenery growing along the side of that as well, and I'm really happy to see that at this station, as with the other ones, it's just been bare dirt. So in terms of greenery, this station is ahead of all of them. Ahead of all of them. And we're here upon our first station area, where we put the ticket vending machines, as well as the already installed help point right here. There'll also be an electronic sign on the right-hand side that you just saw. Here's a better look at it. It's that sleeker design as well, which I love to see them innovating. That should display the next train time as well as many other service advisories. And the important thing about these new help points is that little bar beneath the regular button right there. And that is going to be an accessible button that you can press as a wheelchair user. Since the regular button for help is located relatively high up, just beyond that area is going to be the first ramp into the station. There's going to be another ramp on the other side, as well as a second entrance closer to the Metrolink tracks. Of course, these entrances are going to be at grade as well, with a railroad crossing that will block access whenever a train is arriving. The arm is installed in this one, but most notably, you can see the railing right here is made of wood, and it looks like. And I really hope that they're going to replace this pretty soon. That way we're not stuck with a wood railing on opening day, which should be around the summer of this year. So I'm excited to show you guys all of that. There's more of those HVAC little buildings over there. I'm not sure what they were used for, but those have been popping up with the A-line. And now here's a pretty good angle of the station itself right here. You can see the freshly painted yellow lines. The benches are installed, as well as the street lamps and trash cans. However, there is this little gap right here where this red rope is, and this is going to be a continued wall or fence for the station. That way you're not able to climb up onto the tracks, which I'm sure some people or homeless people may try to do, but hopefully not. Anyways, here's a look at the station again from another angle with the roof installed. And if you look closely, you can see that the lights are actually on, which is great to see. They're using a different, more modern design with LED lights for sure. And you can see the wrapped station information signs over there, which do have that blinking orange dot in the corner indicating that they have electrical flow. They're just waiting to be modified and customized for the station itself. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the remaining parts of the platform, which have completed signage as well as those new information TV screens that you have seen throughout the video so far at each of the stations. You can also see that there's blank information panels that you just saw on the button. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what we've walked through so far. Looking back.
What'll it be?
What?
What'll it be?
Teamwork, everyone. Yes! Ninja Hawk! Not so fast.
Time to finish this.
Okay. That was fun.
Time to finish this. Time to finish this.
No! Kishi!
Big bang. Give it to me. Here I come.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Dude, this bitch is throwing me like a motherfucker.